Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to this session of XAT decision making, this workshop. Let's see who we have here. So Nikhil is here, Shreya, we have Abhimanyu, Akshay, Pranjal. Welcome to this session. Good morning Pranjal, good morning Vishwanath, Quillen, Amrita is here, great. So just let me know, have you been practicing the decision making section, the questions there? Good morning Shreya. Okay, is the audio and the visual clear? Just let me know. Okay, we have got the eyes there. Great. So decision making section, we all know that it could be the game changer in XAT. Because if you just have the knack to do it, if you know the ways to go about it, you will get you will go high on accuracy and get the correct answers. And definitely, so you have been practicing. I just want to know this. Have you been practicing the questions? Saurabh, Amisha, Amrit? Okay, so in this session we'll be taking a look at some of the questions, and as we go through we'll try to see what all is very important, what all needs to be kept into account while doing these questions. And believe me that on ambiguity, these decision making options are very low as compared to your verbal reasoning, critical reasoning, and the RC questions in the verbal section. You'll find that they are less ambiguous, and if you know that why an option is a wrong option, then clearly you'll know your correct answer. So as we do the questions, we'll see how to tackle these decision making questions. And very importantly, decision making is a combination of reading comprehension as well as logical reasoning. Reading comprehension, because so many times you'll find there's lots of text to read, and speed reading is very important. And there are many things which we need to keep into account. First, very importantly, let's take a look at what kind of situations do you get here. So decision making involves situations where the protagonist has to take a decision when he's faced with maybe an ethical dilemma. There is a corporate managerial issue, a financial choice, a business decision, or a personal decision also. And ethical dilemmas or maybe managerial issues, financial, one thing has to be kept into mind, that we have to take the textbook ethics into account. It has to be every time, if you have to choose between material benefit and something ethical, we go with the ethical. We don't leave that when we are deciding. And very importantly, even if your practical everyday experience tells you that it's otherwise, no guys, we have to take the ethics into account, and the decisions have to be very, very ethical. Okay. Okay, Saurabh, so you have done the last year's paper. I think that's quite a bit, and 2-3 years more and you will be ready with this strategy. Okay, let's take a look without delay, because I want to take as many situations and see how a decision is taken in those situations. So without delay, let's take a look at the first one here. So what do we have here? A very typical situation. This person, Hitesh, just read it, guys. Okay, just read it. And what do we have here is that this guy, Hitesh, he sets up an organization with a particular purpose. And the purpose here is, now where's the pen? Okay, so the purpose here is that he observes that in his earlier there is lots of caste discrimination, and he wants an organization where he employs people from the all castes and try to eliminate caste bias. Okay, and his NGO expanded and started working with various sections of society. And as part of his team, he built a squad of sales representatives consisting of people from diverse backgrounds. And as his representatives were from diverse backgrounds, including the low caste, he soon started experiencing resistance from his clients. They objected to the presence of representatives from the lower caste. So now the dilemma is there. So what should he do? This is an ethical dilemma, and more than half his employees are from the low caste. So should he change the demography of his organization, or on the other hand, if he does so, then the very purpose of building that organization is lost. So let's look at the options. First, very importantly, what's the question stem? What should he do as a socially aware and entrepreneur who knows of his social responsibilities? Just look at the options and tell me, what should this guy do? He's faced with this dilemma. Should he just forget about why he started the organization in the first place, or stick with it and then maybe he loses his clients? Ishan, Rituja, Prabal, welcome to the session. Nimit. Okay, so the correct answer you feel is 5. Aquilin, you feel it's 3, could be 1 also we have. Okay. Just a second, guys. Yes, guys. Okay. Am I audible? Okay, so you feel the first, the third also could be the correct answer. Let's look at the options. Shift to businesses and areas of work which face no such stigma. So guys, when we have this kind of an option, you see that shifting to another business, it doesn't make much sense, because then the entire purpose is lost. Why he started this business? Because he wanted a something where the caste discrimination was not there. And this kind of an option, the first option, you find that it is like which I call an evading the issue kind of an option. Okay, so the first one, there was something wrong with the audio. So I hope it's right now. So shift to the businesses. So this is the first option, is the evading the issue. You are not tackling the issue. Instead of resolving the situation, you just want to go and start a business somewhere else. So again, he might just lose the purpose for which he started, and this is not kind of an option which we are looking for. Very, very clearly, this kind of an option will be escaping the issue, evading the issue. Any such option is a wrong option. And let's look at the third one. Let the current situation continue and hope for the social climate to improve. Again, this situation, and Aquilin, this is like, Aquilin, can you hear me now? This situation where you leave the current situation and without doing anything, no action is a bad decision. So we should remember that no action is a bad action, it's a bad decision. And let's look at the fifth one. Try to juggle his assignments in such a manner that he does not send people from the lower caste to those clients who object. So whenever we take a decision, whenever we have to mark the correct option here, we have to take two things into account. First is, what is the purpose? What are the important aspects? The important aspects, dear students, in this situation is, first, the purpose for which he's set up this organization, and second, very importantly, that his clients are dissatisfied. So what should be done? So okay, both these issues have to be addressed, and then we look at the options. So we find that it is only the fifth option that takes care of both the issues. First, that he should continue with this organization and the purpose for which it was established, and secondly, very importantly, that his clients also remain satisfied. So the fifth option here, it gives you it tackles both the situations, it resolves the situation, so it is the correct option. Have you understood? Is it clear? Aquilin, this guy Hitesh has to take care of his clients as well. So he is not exactly discriminating, he's giving opportunities to all his employees, uh, just without talking about their caste. Only thing is that if some of his clients don't wish to interact with somebody, then okay, he'll send somebody else. But in other situations, he will not discriminate, or he will send people from the lower caste as well. Okay, okay, so it's very clear. Let's move on to the next one. Just read this, take 2 minutes to read it. It's a very simple one. I think you should get it very easily. So Nikhil, can you see the entire slide now? Should I move to the next one? Okay. So the question stem. Guys, whenever we get a question, the most important thing here is the question stem. We have to read the question stem and be very clear what we are looking for. In a decision making question, the stakeholders perspective, which stakeholder we are talking about. It could be the CEO, it could be the labor, the worker on the floor, it could be the HR guy, it could be the sales head. So we have to make sure who we are, the question stem is referring to, from whose perfect perspective we have to take the decision. So in this second question we have here, it's the HR manager in concern and what you would do in the given situation. And the situation, as we saw, is that there is this guy Udit who has come for a job, and he's very good, and he's got his degree and everything from a mid-level institute, engineering degree, and only thing is he lacks communication skills. And very importantly, this is a BPO we are talking about, where the communication skills are very important. So what does the HR guy do? Okay, Nanika, am I audible now? So the correct option, I would identify the specific role that is suitable for his skill set and make sure his shortcomings are overcome. Yes, guys, this is the correct one. Good to know that each one of you was able to make out what's the correct option, because here again we have to take two things into account. First is that this is the HR manager we are talking about, and an HR person has to select the right person for the right role. And first is, he knows that this is good, so he takes Udit, and then he has to train this guy to help him overcome his shortcomings. Great. So third is our correct option. Let's move on to the next one. The third question, just go through it. Okay, see, first thing, Ishan, when we are recruiting, so CEO won't be involved. It is necessary an HR role. So I think let's leave out such conjectures, because recruiting is, hiring is necessarily an HR role. And even for a CEO, it's important that the organization gets the best people. So I think even if it was the CEO who takes it upon himself to do the HR work, it would be okay. It is a BPO, but still in a BPO, Mukul, we would need somebody for the administration, somebody for some other roles as well, and this guy's training also. So are you satisfied with the answer, Saurabh? Okay, I'll give you a little more time before answering. Just read this. Okay, good, Saurabh, good to know that. And just go through this. This is a company which manufactures premium fountain pen and diary combo. And we all know that with the coming in of tablets and Kindle and smartphones, diaries and fountain pens, even the premium ones, are not really needed. So what does this person do? So very importantly, as I said, in every situation, we have to take into account what are the important aspects, and our correct answer should address all those important things. So the first thing is, it is a premium fountain pen and diary manufacturer we are talking about, and it caters to the richest. Usually it caters to the richest section, and the price range is this, and massive change has happened. Okay, and that digital products are being replaced, the coming of smartphones, tablets. So what do they do? Let's move on to the next slide. Very importantly, the question stem here: what should be the strategy adopted by the premium fountain pen and diary combo industry in order to be profitable in the long term? Very importantly, we have to see that the decision we take, it affects in the short term or in the long term. So what has to be done in the long term that the industry doesn't suffer? Okay, so give me the answer. Just go through the options. So it's a long-term decision. You can think of some changes there. You can think of some changes in strategy. Okay, so Charu feels it's 3, rest of you it's 4. Divya also goes with the third one. Okay, Subhajit also third. Okay, can we discuss? Do we have more answers? Okay, Harshit, Akshay. So we have close choices, which are your third and the fourth. Okay, you are caught between third and fourth. So here we have to take a decision whether it's to be the third or the fourth one. Guys, the important thing here is that it's a premium fountain pen diary combo, and the rich communities for whom it was meant earlier, they are no longer buying it. So what we have here is that the market segment it was targeting earlier is not working for it. Let's look at the third, fourth option, and it has to increase its profits. So two things: the market segment is not working, the market segment doesn't need the rich, the premium market, and it has to make it into a profit thing again. Okay, the third one: increase the appeal of their products by introducing a new line of cost-effective combos for middle and lower classes of society. Fourth, use technology enhancement features in their products and convert them into digital diaries and pens. Now fourth looks very appealing. Why does it look appealing? Because okay, we can also compete with the smartphones, Kindle and tablets by just enhancing the technology. But very importantly, we have to remember that okay, the premium segment is not working for us. The rich communities are not buying it. The rich society are not buying it. So we feel that if we enhance the technology and make it into digital diaries and pens. But guys, will digital diaries again be able to compete with Kindle and smartphones and tablets? Just answer this. Then again you will have to go on enhancing it till you come up with a very good smartphone. So then you are a totally different product. So that would involve too much of investment. Whereas it would be easier if you start targeting the mid and the lower segments of the society. The middle and the lower segment, the lower class of the society with the same product. Yes, it's a long-term plan. So long-term plan, still in the long-term plan, Aquilin, if we continue enhancing the technology, we are changing the product altogether. Even a digital diary and a pen won't be able to compete with the smartphone. Then we have to come up with a smartphone. That's a completely different product we are talking about. So instead, whenever a car manufacturer or maybe any other manufacturer faces a similar kind of a situation where the rich or the niche market is no longer interested in their product, then yes, we have got a huge mid and lower segments of the society, the lower classes, where we can really sell this product well. Yes, the product initially was for the premium sections of the society, Saurabh. Okay, the argument here is that the premium section of the society doesn't need it any longer. But then there are other sections of the society which need it. It doesn't necessarily say that we have to stick to the premium section. It just says that it was meant for them. They don't need it. So what do we do with it? So increase the appeal of their product by introducing a new line of cost effective. Again, a very important term. So for it to be profitable, we are not investing too much there, but just introducing a new line for a cost effective, maybe not at 6,000 rupees, because definitely that is not going to work with the mid and the lower segments. A slightly more economical, reasonable cost there for the middle and the lower classes. Does it make sense? Amisha, the profit margins won't be reduced because the segments are very huge. The premium segments are 0.001% of the society, whereas the mid and the lower are huge. So the numbers would necessarily add up to the profits. Okay, Prabal, so you have got it? Can we move on to the next one? Okay, Amisha, happy to know. Guys, can we move on to the next one? Okay. So here's our next question here. These are case study based questions, single questions following a case study. Whereas again we have caselets followed by multiple questions, which we'll be doing later in the session. Okay. Amisha, Vineet, just read this. It's about the car industry. Yeah, I can see the smiles on your faces. Saruthi Mozuki sounds a little familiar. So there's a drop of 15% in the sales, and it's a middle segment. See the segment, the mid segment, lower segment, or the premium segment. It's very important who the industry is targeting. And cars have great fuel efficiency and generally low on frills. Very important here that we know what aspects we are referring to, what are the important aspects that the decision has to take into account. So being a part of the company board, which out of the following would you recommend as a course of action? So this is a course of action question. As we know in decision making, you will get a question where you'll have to help the protagonist take a decision, and then you can get a question where you have to tell what led him into taking that decision. So this is the best next step. Okay, let's see what are the options they give us. Reduce the operating costs, increase advertising expenditure. Okay. Shreya, Bhuvan, Amit, welcome to the session. Sohit, you had raised the doubt that the middle and the lower sections can use the phones for the earlier question. See, they'll be using the phones, but not maybe the kind of phones which the niche, the premium section, the rich sections are using. So still they might be needing the diaries and the pens, which are no longer needed by the rich sections. I hope that answers your query. Okay, so yes, good. We have the answers coming here for this one. Yes, guys, using an enhanced loyalty and exchange bonus schemes that help drive up the sales, because very importantly, if we look at this, it is a short term, it is the near future. In the current fiscal year, we have to bring back the lost revenue, and as it is already low on frills, we can't be doing any downgrading. So definitely third is the answer. Okay, Rituja, just for you, here is the slide again. Bhuvan, the question here was, which out of the following would you recommend as a course of action to recover some of the lost revenue of the company in the current fiscal year? I think, so it's a car, it's the sales are dropping, and it's already a mid-segment car without any frills. So what should they do to increase the sales? And this, as it is December, we already know that to increase the sales, the car manufacturers or the retailers, they give you so many discounts and all. So this is in line with what we have here, the options here. Using an enhanced loyalty and exchange bonus schemes that help drive up the sales. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Before we do that, the important steps, let's take a look at. The first is very important, is read the question stem. After you read the passage, it's very important to read the question stem to know what you are exactly looking for, and underline the core issue. And rule out all the irrelevant options. In a decision making question, it's important to know why a wrong option is wrong before you can say which is the correct one. And very importantly, the two C's, consequences and the complexities. The complexities of the situation, take into account every important aspect, and yes, the consequences, we can't ignore them. That is what we are taking the decision for. Okay. So here we have a caselet followed by multiple questions. Read it clearly, read it thoroughly, just see what you can make of it. It is about Mr. Thakural, and he has this Pardos Pharmaceuticals. So he's the owner, the CEO, and business has been running for 10 years now. So quite a bit of time, and a very hands-on approach. They tell us that it's a very hands-on approach to solving matters, and handles his personal operations staff on his own, and all important decisions also are taken by him regarding a person's salary, current job profile and designation. And the role of the HR has been reduced, has ensured that the HR division has never fostered. So these are some very, very important aspects that Mr. Thakural's working has ensured that the HR division has never been fostered. So he continues to wield control when it comes to managing the affairs of every employee. And now what has happened? As I told you, in these questions, you will be required to read lots of text at times. Speed reading is important. So Mr. Thakural, he was going through this appraisal thing and had already decided upon most of the appraisals of most of other managers. And Mr. Ganeshan he wanted to meet. Now Mr. Thakural is busy. So this gave the impression that to Mr. Ganeshan that maybe he was being avoided intentionally. Most of the situations you find that things go wrong because people start questioning the intentions behind the actions. So here Mr. Ganeshan is doing that. Guys, is the slide visible? Just give me a few responses. Okay. So you are just reading it. Good. So Mr. Ganeshan used to decided to go on a strike, a first of its kind, and decided to form a union. And why did he do so? Because in a fit of rage, and Mr. Thakural flatly refused to meet him and offered no communication. No communication in any organization, in any situation, is a bad situation. It's a bad decision. Talking and resolving is very important. Communication is very important. Okay, so they go on a strike and forward their proposal to both the HR department and Mr. Thakural. And Mr. Ganeshan who had offered his resignation, the union wants that he should be immediately reinstated, accompanied with his necessary appraisal. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The factor that is the question stem here, the factor that has led to the development of the current situation, which is the factor. Mr. Thakural's egocentric way of managing the company, lack of understanding. Just read them. Okay guys, we are getting all fours. Anybody with a different answer? Okay, that means you have clearly understood what's happening and what's needed. And okay, Ankit, Divya, Subhajit, a lack of analysis and forethought. Okay, guys, forethought, yes, that maybe he should have fostered the HR department. He should have delegated some of the responsibilities. But again, if you see this situation, had he forethought, the situation wouldn't have happened at all. The situation has happened, and it's suddenly there is everything gets disrupted. Mr. Thakural is not able to meet Mr. Ganeshan, maybe for whatever reasons. Mr. Ganeshan takes it as a personal affront and he resigns, and the situation like a strike and all, it's okay. So it's a very sudden thing. If he had forethought on behalf of in handling the lack of, okay, then what? Again, even if he had forethought, then what? So what should he have done? What was needed? It is not given in the third option. So just actually, how can you say that he had not forethought? This guy had a hands-on approach. This guy thought that by meeting each and every person, being in touch with them, would keep away such situations, keep such situations at bay. But this doesn't happen. So it doesn't necessarily mean that no forethought had gone into it. Only thing was that maybe he hadn't correctly surmised it, and just that not delegating the authority, not having his HR department in place correctly was now proved to be a little harmful. So Rituja, you believe it's a 1 or 4? So the first one, yes, the first one, Mr. Thakural's ego-centric ways, very, very tempting option. Any such option is totally ruled out. First thing is, we don't go by such extreme options and personal kind of comments that he's egocentric, he was too proud to take a decision. Something like this is, guys, totally ruled out. We tone it down. If you look at the fourth option, it is almost a tone down, a lack of sensitivity. We don't say he's egocentric, we don't say he's selfish, we don't say he's hard-headed. There is a lack of sensitivity towards employees and discrepancy in management policies, because two things were happening. First is that his entire plan of not delegating was not very proper, and second, that he had met other managers and he had not met Mr. Ganeshan. So discrepancy in management policies followed by Mr. Thakural. As such, your fourth option is the best choice here. Varun, we can't really say. Yeah, I agree with you. We can't really say that he was egocentric, because they have already told us that he would meet each and every employee. He had a very hands-on approach. So we can't say that he was egocentric. It is just that he didn't surmise that something like this could happen. And sometimes just maybe he was busy, maybe he had too many other things on his mind, and he couldn't meet Mr. Ganeshan. So the situation gets bad. Guys, got this one? Can we move on to the next one? Nikhil, yes, lack of communication. Lack of communication, not in a very generalized way, because this guy was meeting the people and all. But yes, lack of a proper process in place. Yes, that could have been a better option. But the thing is, we have to choose the best option out of the ones we have been provided with. The best we can do. Okay. So the next question, based on the same caselet, here we'll see what all needed to be done to avert this situation. So this is where you don't have to mark just one answer, but maybe 2, 3, 4. Okay, Nikhil, I got that. And if you look at this question stem, you'll find that we can do more than one thing about it. So Rituja, Rajat, Aditya, Saurabh, Charu, Mukul, you all feel that Mr. Thakural had heard the contentions. Yes, that is important, because that's what Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Am I audible? Yes. So, Lakshita, Pranjal, Nimit, all of you, you feel that uh, Mr. Thakural should have heard the contentions of Mr. Ganeshan. Yes, that is very important because it is what triggered the situation in the first place. And the fifth option had created a process. Yes, how what I said earlier was that a process where the HR was a very strong department and HR was doing its duties and everything is very important. So this had created a process where the employees knew when they could meet him. So this could have been done if it was properly delegated and everybody knew how it's to be done. So great, we can move on to the next one now. Yes, Nikhil. So when we have such an option, then yes, it's a good option. Uh, just a second. Divya, you feel why not the third one? See, in the third, the difference is option number 3 had given more authority to his HR department. See, if we just do this and we ignore the second one, the second is very important to rule out this, that he should have spoken to in the given situation when the HR has not been fostered in the given situation. He should have first spoken to Mr. Ganeshan. That would have ruled out the situation going from bad to worse. And yes, then he should have had a proper process. So we need second very, very importantly. Okay, had there been an option where second, third and fifth, then maybe we would have gone in with that. Okay, so to the next, which out of the following is the best recourse available? Now the strike is there and what should be done? Okay, everybody is going with 3 except for Varun. Okay, see, very importantly, in such a situation, we need to talk and resolve. We know that. And options like identify the employees leading the strike and make a deal. This kind of an option is what I call the unethical. Remember, guys, it has to be textbook ethics. We don't do any such thing. And this again is what we call the unethical one. This is okay, we have to talk and we have to resolve and talk with Mr. Ganeshan and the rest of the employees. And yes, Nikhil, the unethical ones. Huh? Okay, the fifth one, ask the employees what kind of changes. Now, this kind of an option, this kind of an action is what we call opening the Pandora's box. You know, every employee will come up with some other option, some or the other option, and then the CEO or the owner can't really go by each and everybody decision there. Each and everybody, what one is desiring, maybe the other is not liking it. So it's always better to speak to the representatives, speaking to each and every employee, giving them that option to choose. You know what happens. So if like the entire class is given the option by the teacher, you want to study or you don't want to study or what you want to do, then you know what happens. Each one comes up with their own decisions. So we speak to the representatives, not to every individual in the group. Okay, so that is why the fifth is not a very good option. Rituja, even for future situations, it is important that yes, every employee has a say, so maybe they can make some suggestions somewhere or something, or they can just write down their complaints and send them. But asking every employee before making any changes, I think that would be opening a Pandora's box, definitely, because you can't go by each and everybody's desire, each and everybody what they want. So it is better to speak to the representatives. So everywhere, any organization, anything, whether it's a school or an institute, you have the council, you have the advisory council, you have some unit or the other which represents the entire group. So that is important. The fourth one, Divya, Ask the HR department. Okay, so we have already been told that as of now the HR department has not been fully fostered. It is not mature enough to handle such a situation. They have been handling very minor things. They are not a full-fledged HR department, because this guy Thakural had been handling everything on his own. Okay. Yeah, Nikhil, when the HR has not been fostered, they would definitely say that if you have spoiled it, do it yourself. Okay, but we don't even mark that kind of an answer correct. Okay, let's look at the next slide. I think that takes care of what you want to know, Charu. Just look at this question stem. So any HR person is bound to feel a little frustrated that they were not able to handle this and they didn't have the necessary tools with them also, maybe. Assuming you are the one such person and set up for a long time and is responsible for employee welfare, what should be your approach in the given case? So now what the HR can do. Let's just see. In a question like this where you have to choose more than one option, guys, it is important to see that we take into account every option which can have a positive impact. We leave out only the ones which will impact it, will have no impact or have a negative impact. Okay, so yes, it is the fourth one, first, second and fifth. And Aditya and Ankit, you are caught between you feel it's only the first and fifth or first and second is needed. Yes, first we all agree that there has to be some proactive, they have to be proactive towards finding a possible resolution for the issue. And fifth is creating and using a crisis management, it has to be crisis management module for policy implementation at times of crisis. The teacher in me. Okay, so yes, we need that. We need for future, because it's a long-term thing. For future, we need this. And second one, understanding the viewpoints. Here again, talking to people and knowing what they want is very important in any such situation. So that is why we need both the second as well as the fifth. And first, yes, we all agree. So it has to be first, second and fifth. And as I told you earlier, that we have to rule out only the options which have a negative impact or which have no impact at all. As I look at the third and the fourth, inclined towards getting in the good books. So completely unethical. This is not the way we work. This is not the way we say that we work. In decision making, you have to choose what should be done than what is usually done. That is it. So staying out of the way and doing only the works. This is again what I call evading the issue, escaping the situation, which is not a good option. Okay, yes, Saurabh, second and fourth as such are definitely wrong. So in such a question, we take into account every action, every step which is going to have a positive impact. Okay, so guys, it has to be first, second and fifth. All three have to be done. So it's the fourth option. Let's move on to the next one. A question on the same caselet. It's a long caselet we have. So if you have understood this case, you get to answer at least 5 questions and you can get them correct. Okay. Just go through it. So they were behind because of the strike. They were behind delivery schedules. And about to lose its major client. So what does Mr. Thakural do? That does to make sure that the strike is over as soon as possible. Mr. Thakural decided to offer an unconditional apology and decides to employ him In order to avoid such an embarrassing situation again in the future, he should adopt how many? Now again, this is a very different kind of question, not just what he should do, but how many of the following steps. Aquilin, I'm not sure about that. Okay, so how many of these steps? So is it to be 1, 2 or 3? It's quite similar to the earlier question where you had to choose the next steps that have to be taken care of. Oh, Aquilin, sorry about that. So you again you're faced with a decision making situation. Let's hope that you can watch the video later. So boss is a boss. Wish you all the very best, Aquilin. Okay, let's hope it's available as a video later. I think it should be. Okay, in this question we have to remember that the most important thing here is that there was a strike, and because of the strike some things got delayed, and he apologized. And what is needed to avoid this situation? Now this situation happened not because the system of appraisals or the performance tools were not in place. Nowhere were we talking about that. It happened because Mr. Thakural couldn't speak, or he didn't communicate with Mr. Ganeshan, and the HR department was not fostered. So these were the two important aspects. When answering this question, we have to take this into account. So as such, we find that a set of system of appraisals and performance analysis tools. So these are not what didn't happen or where the problem lay earlier. So this is not what needs to be addressed. Our decisions have to address the important aspect. The important aspects were just two: lack of communication and the HR department. So we have the policy framework for dispute resolutions. Yes, to ensure discussions remain open. The communication pathways have to remain open, and a crisis management policy, definitely, because then we need to see that the orders have to be processed even if there are some strikes and all. A restructuring in HR responsibilities, very much needed. These three very much needed. But a set system of appraisals or performance analysis tools, not necessarily, and a policy forbidding the formation of unions. So if any such thing is forbidden, a very heavy word, the moment it's forbidden, it is going to raise too many questions. It is really going to lead to crisis. The moment you ask people to forbid them from doing something, they are bound to do it. So this is going to create lots of chaos and confusion. So we rule this out completely, and an organization cannot forbid. Again, that would be a little unethical on the part of the organization. Okay, so we have got three options which are our good options, and three important things that need to be done. This is the first, the second, and the fourth one. As such, the correct option is the third. Okay, yes, Nikhil. So it's the first, second, and the fourth. So the correct answer would be three things have to be taken into account to avoid such a situation, to deal with it. Yes, it's three. Okay, the next question. Here we have it about an MUV, a very important one. We have been talking about ethical decisions which give precedence to ethics rather than material benefits. So the flaw has crept in because there's a flaw there in the MUVs. And because the training given to some of the electricians was faulty. And yes, Nikhil, definitely there'll be some questions on AR, and Mahindra has no way establishing who fitted these systems, so they didn't know which of these vehicles has it. and the company is now faced with a tricky situation. So the dilemma here is, should it face the ire of the customers or risk a significant loss in reputation by making the flaw public? I think it sounds familiar. You have already seen in the last few months what happened to Maggie and how Maggie dealt with it. So you are really well equipped to answer this one. So which out of the following is the correct solution for the company? What should the company do now? How to resolve this dilemma? It should not make the error public. It should conduct a survey. Should make the fault public. Introduce a new variant. Okay, so Rituja says it's first. Ankit goes with the second. The rest of you feel it's fifth. Okay, Pranjal again is the second. The first one, that it should not make the error public. We never choose this kind of an option because it is unethical. Yes, your everyday experience might tell you that yes, this might be good, a good idea, but no, this will definitely affect the brand image and it is unethical, so we don't do this. As I said that we just need to see what Maggie did. So Maggie recalled each and every packet and they said, okay, let's wait for 3-4 months, and it was ready to face the consequences, whatever may be it, that it was ready to face the financial loss, but not harm its brand image. It's dealing with the customers. The customers are really, they have to be there. Your association with them should be, it's very sacrosanct kind of. And the company should recall these cars and rectify the error, whatever may be the consequences. So that is very important, and that is your correct option. And the second one, Lakshita, Vineet, Rajat, the company should conduct a survey amongst its customers and try to establish the ones who are facing the problem with the GPS system. This looks good, but conducting the survey and just establishing, what is the next point? The next step, okay, just by conducting the survey and establishing who has got it wrong, it has not resolved. The issue will be resolved when the problem is rectified. So they have not given, very cunningly, they have not given that as a part of the second option. Yes, Mukul, the remedy was not applied. The remedy is not there. Guys, importantly, it has to be remedied. The situation has to be resolved, and that is done only in the fifth. Yes, but then Aquilin, they just face that loss of face is there. Definitely, you can't befool the customer. That is what Maggie did. Maggie, why they called back each and every packet, and they waited for 4 months. At the even they might have lost customers in those 4 months, but they took the most ethical step. Yes, Ankit, yes, it's not explicitly mentioned, so that is why we don't go with the second option. I hope you're satisfied. You know how to solve this kind of a question. The fifth option is the correct option. Let's move on to the next one. So this is about the Wet Airways, and the circumstances are peculiar. It's a low-cost aircraft. Guys, very important. We know all the important aspects that have to be taken into account. Again and again, I'm repeating this because this will only help. This is the only thing which is going to help you in choosing the correct options. Your decision, the option you choose, has to address each and every important aspect. So Wet Airways that doesn't require some staff. It has to be reduced because of the e-commerce venture, and the ticketing operations have gone online, but it is known for its employee-friendly policies. So what should be done now? Okay, Rituja, hope you watched the video and wish you all the very best. So organization now finds itself in a dilemma: how to reduce its cost by downsizing and maintain its employee friendly nature. So the dilemma here is that it's to choose between downsizing, remaining cost effective, and maintaining its employee friendly nature. So what do they do? Let's look at the options and the questions, and which out of the following could be the most suitable long term. As I said, it is important to note whether you are looking for a short term or a long term solution to the problem. Just read the options. So economic viability comes first. So it should let the employees go, should retain the best performing and let go of the others, should start another venture and give employment to those who have lost their jobs, should wait for the fuel prices to decrease so it does not need to remove the employees. Okay, third or fifth? Okay. In any situation where a company has to take what I call a harsh step, that yes, downsizing has to happen, it is has to reduce its costs, and there is no need for these employees. So just to pamper them, just for their welfare, the company can't continue with them. But then again, it cannot endanger its relationship with employees. So in any such situation, the compensation is very important. And the fifth option tells us that the company should offer handsome early retirement benefits and make sure that all those relieved receive adequate compensation. So this, in a way, takes care of both the things. First, the downsizing has happened, and yes, even though it's given them compensation, but in the long term, it has reduced its expenditure. It has remained very economical. Okay, Nikhil, yes, so I hope you are a very, very cherished employee, and either they'll compensate you very, very handsomely, or they'll retain you. All the very best for that. And guys, this decision making is about practical life, and this is what we face in our everyday lives. So, okay. And the third option, or yes, third. So Aditya has chosen third, Nainika also the third option. They should start another venture. Now here we are talking about downsizing and reducing the costs. So starting another venture would be very, very costly. So one aspect wouldn't be taken care of. The fifth option takes care of both the aspects, the downsizing as well as the welfare, the employee welfare. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So this is what in critical reasoning we have resolved the dilemma kind of question. Resolve the dilemma resolve the paradox kind of question. This behavior that this company, Trust Communication, a major Indian telecom company, has seen its 2G users drop by 23%. So users have dropped, and the company has attracted significant foreign investment, and the revenue has increased by 14%. So here we have a paradox. So what do we do as we used to solve those resolve the paradox questions in critical reasoning? Similarly, we have to do this one. Which out of the following accounts for a possible explanation for the increase in revenue of Trust Communication? Let's look at the options. Aditya, just look at the options and then see why that its sales of 2G have gone down, and still the company revenue is increasing, and it is attracting foreign investment as well. So that means the company is doing well. So despite the sales dropping. So what is it? Why is the company doing so well? Yes, Charu, Prabal, Nakul, Bhuvan, Subhajit, Divya. It is the fifth one. This tells you why the company is getting so much investment. It holds the pan India 4G license. So there is something to suffice this drop which is seen in the 2G sales. Something which is attracting the foreign investment. This explains it. This resolves the paradox. And option number one, Ayush, which you have marked, the company has successfully warded off a takeover bid and is seen in control by the stakeholders, thus inspiring confidence in its consumers. Very importantly, if it is a general that it is inspiring confidence in its consumers, then why is the 2G sales dropping? Okay, and this might look very sweet, very sugar coated, and that it is warded off a takeover bid and all, but it doesn't address any of the important issues here. First is 2G sales are dropping and still the company is doing good. So what is the reason? Maybe there is some other product. If one product sale is dropping and the company is still doing well, maybe there is some other product which is doing really well. So here what we look at is that there is a 4G license, pan India license, and everybody wants a share of that pie, and that is why you have the foreign investment. Ankit, they are selling that license to other companies, not just to their own consumers. And there is foreign investment as well, because this is the only company which is doing so well and which is going to do so well in the near future as well. Does that answer your question? Aquilin, welcome back to the session. I hope your boss relieved you for a while of your and you're free now. Okay. Guys, can we move on to the next question? Nice to see that smile. Okay, so we have elixir, the Amrit there, and it can improve fuel efficiency of vehicles by 50%, and this additive only increases petrol cost by about 10% and can be readily derived. So very easily derived, and it is reducing the fuel efficiency, can improve the fuel efficiency, reducing the petrol cost. That's something which we all need. Despite its success, the oil marketing companies have not provided fuel mix pre-mixed with this additive. So are missing out on a chance of using the already limited petrol resources for a lot longer. And let's look at the question and the options. Which of the following statements explains the approach adopted by the oil marketing companies? Why they are not really, adopting this thing, the elixir? Why they are not using the elixir? Again, this question, it sounds like a question from critical reasoning section. So as I told you in the beginning that this is a lot to do with CR, your reasoning abilities have to be in place. So why did they do so? What led them to take this decision? Okay, Pusharak. So you feel that the fuel additive would reduce petrol consumption and companies do not wish to lose out potential revenue. Yeah, we are looking at the unethical intentions of the companies, that they are looking for only their profits and not using something which would be so much environment friendly and friendly for our petrol resources. We don't go for such options, because again, as I say, this would be a little unethical. Simply not using something which is so good, which it's so good, and still not using it simply for some short-term gains. No, we don't go in for short-term gains, giving it precedence over long-term. Okay. Okay, Nikhil, all the best. Aquilin, the first one, majority of oil companies do not have necessary mixing techniques. See, nowhere have they mentioned that they don't have the technique, they don't have the know-how. They have got everything. So what really is important here is that if they have got everything and they know that it seems to be working and still not have adapted it, Yes, Aquilin, here again and again I am repeating that we don't go by what's done, we go by what should be done. So not what we see in practical life most of the times, but what should be done. Textbook ethics, your moral science lessons from class 3, 4, 5 will help you a lot. Okay, Aquilin. So the best would be that the companies are not really sure of the long-term impact of the additive on the car. So when we are not very sure of these things, that is only when we don't go for something new. So this is the correct option. Guys, can we move on to the next slide? Mukul, number of cars running on petrol has dropped. Again, we are taking into account a fact which has not been mentioned there. See, yes, you will say that even the fourth one is not mentioned, but this kind of a thing that petrol is not needed, whereas they've already told us that using the elixir would help in sustaining the petrol resources for a longer time, tells us that petrol is being used. Okay. Is this clear, Mukul, now? Why we can't go with the second option? Okay. Let's move on to the next question then. Here again we have a caselet, and this is about a government scene, a government situation where there is too much rainfall, and here the situation it turns into a crisis because of natural causes. So what does one do? How does one act in such a situation? What we have is there is a flood warning, and more rainfall is expected, and Ganges might just overflow. Oh, this is to be overflow. And flooding seems to be a foregone conclusion. Very important here. Manuk, welcome to this session. And the residents have been advised to evacuate. The farmers are trying to save what they can. For the farmers, their livestock and investment in their farms is important. So that is why they don't want to lose. They don't want to leave. They're clinging on to their land till the absolute last moment. Kajal, welcome to the session. And they hope that rain would abate and they would be able to save some of their belongings. And now here again, the person on behalf of whom you have to take the decision is important. You are the district commissioner and of the worst affected region, and keeping the above situation in mind, you need to come up with a plan to help the citizens of your area. And the citizens, they don't wish to evacuate because they don't want to lose their livestock and the investment they have made on their farms. Now what to do? The following are some of the options that you have. Make the evacuation mandatory. Let's look at all the options first before deciding, Akulin. So what we have here is we have to choose more than one option out of the above, which are the set of decisions that are advisable in the given case. So most of you are going with the first option. Guys, we have to choose which are the three steps. So you are going with first, third and fourth. And we have Prabal and Rajat and Divya going with the third, that is second, third and fourth. Okay, let's take a look at the first and the second option because that is crucial. We have to decide. All of us mostly agree that third and fourth are needed, but do we choose the first one or the second one? So let's take a look at the first and the second option. Okay, make the evacuation of all mandatory. Guys, you are people with lots of good heart, and you know these farmers might just die if they are there, and you feel that the evacuation should be made mandatory. That's very good. But here again, the word mandatory. Now, mandatory is something that's kind of a rule of law that everybody has to follow. Now, here in this kind of a situation, a person can't resort to something which is mandatory by law. It is legal, it has to be followed, otherwise they'll be penalized for it. Now these guys own that property. You can't ask somebody to leave his or her home and make it mandatory. So mandatory would be too strong a step, and I believe some legal dictum, some law is needed to make something mandatory. And in this situation, the DC is definitely is not in such a position. It's their house, it's their property, and they can only be advised, they can be warned. So instead of mandatory, the word would be strongly worded advisory. You can advise them, you can strongly advise them, okay, you are going to lose your life, so please just leave your homes and go. And with this, it's very important, when you want somebody to take a certain action, you make him do so out of greed or out of fear. Not necessarily greed here, I would say, but yes, by telling them that they'll lose everything if they don't go, okay, that is it. Secondly, very importantly, by addressing their fears, by telling them that they'll be compensated. So yes, Akshay, that's what I said when I meant when I said that this is a soft decision, because yes, we want them to live and we want that they should be safe, but mandatory is something legal. Unless there's a law, we can't make anything mandatory. Okay, so we can only have a strongly worded advice, and then yes, the stick and the carrot thing. So a strongly worded advice. And the third option we saw, call in the army in advance. Just be prepared if the situation worsens to help them, because we want them safe, as you said. And fourth, try to create awareness among through mediums such as radio about the need to evacuate. So we are telling them that they need to evacuate. We are trying to create this kind of awareness, and we can advise them and still be ready with an option like the help from the army. Okay, so it is the correct answer is second, third, and the fourth. Let's look at the next. Okay, in order to make the right decision, which one of the following managerial attributes is required the most by the district commissioner of the worst affected regions? So what does this guy need? Yeah, a decision making workshop. We know what does this guy need. Aditya, yes, he needs emotional stability, but can he do without ethical conduct there? Or scrupulousness? About the details, he has to be very scrupulous. Or some critical thinking? Yes, Equilin? Okay, so 2 is needed, 3 is needed, 4 is needed, first is needed. Ethical, the conduct has to be ethical. Every action has to be ethical. There is not all of the above, Aditya, but if you look at swift decision making needs all this. All that we have been discussing up till now, that when we need to decide on the correct decision, we have to take ethics into view, and we have to be very scrupulous about the details, about the facts, and yes, cool-headed, we can't take hard-headed decisions. Critical thinking, definitely the reasoning is required. All this goes into decision making, and yes, because it's a situation which is worsening every second, so it has to be swift decision making. And if you see, the fifth option includes all these. Okay, Ankit, before this workshop, you would have left this kind of a question, but I believe now you know that swift decision making includes all this, and this is what decision making requires all these abilities. So, in a way, your fifth encompasses first, second, third, and fourth. See, when I say he needs swift decision making, I already accept that he has the ability for swift decision making. So, the attributes. So, this guy has this attribute for swift decision making. So, that means that he can take a correct decision at the right time, in the right time, within the hour that is needed. At the hour and within that much time, both. See, if somebody, Mukul, has this attribute to take a decision swiftly, that means definitely he will be taking a right decision at the right time. Let's move on to the next one. So out of the options given below, which would be the best policy decision by the government of Uttar Pradesh to ensure that people evacuate from the region as soon as possible? Yes, we were talking about the fear, greed, the carrot and stick. So both the things would be needed. Yes. Abhimanyu, Ishan, Saurav, Aditya, Bhuvan, Subhabjit, Rajat, Lakshita. Yes. Third is the correct option, that their fears will be addressed if they are given correct compensation. Substantial compensation for those who would lose their livestock and other essential items of livelihood, so as to incentivize evacuation. Incentivize evacuation, guys, is your keyword here. So we need to keep these things in mind when we are taking our decisions, that look at the situation, take into account all important aspects, and then take a decision. To sum up, we'll just hurriedly look at what we need to remember. So we just need to remember to take all aspects into consideration: the profits, the expenses, employees, customers, what are all the important aspects there. And very importantly, we don't take we don't go about it with any personal bias. The personal bias, the personal opinions have to be avoided. And okay, this is something which we have been referring to in every slide, that it's the textbook ethics. And very importantly, do not assume. As in your critical reasoning questions, we do not assume. We take the facts which have been given to us, and then we decide. And the best decision would involve maximum benefit and minimum damage. But yes, it has to be ethical as well, not maximum benefits at the cost of ethics. Very importantly, ethical plus maximum benefit and minimum damage. I think that in a way sums up how we take a decision. So thanks guys, and wish you all the best. I think that's added to your score you're going to get in that decision making, definitely. I believe that your accuracy would be much higher, your speed would be good. So thank you so much, and very best for your XAT. And do well and enjoy the exam, enjoy doing it, and get good results. All the very best. Thanks Shreya, thanks Ishan. It's nice to know that you enjoyed this session. I also enjoyed conducting it. Saurabh, you can practice all the previous year's questions. I think that would add up to around 140 or so, because we have been getting decision making questions since 2008. And I think that should suffice. So just solve all the previous year's questions, and you'll be ready for your exam. Abhilash, wish you too a very happy and cheerful life. And guys, a very happy new year. The new year is round the corner. And may you do really well in the exams in the new year. Okay. Happy New Year, Aquilin. And all the very best at your job place and for the test. So indeed, I enjoyed this session, and a very happy new year, a very cheerful, full of health and goodness and happiness. Good luck and see you.